So good evening and good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. And thank you for sharing your time with us in this important milestone, at least, for me and the mentors and the mentees. And this is an opportunity for us to listen to our mentees and mentors' real life experiences in their mentoring relationships. For those of you who are attending our event for the first time, let me do a quick introduction about our community. The Mentoring Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide a mentoring community for aspiring and seasoned leaders. Anywhere in the world, we help working people find mentors who can help them develop the skills they need to achieve their career and life goals. We help mentees fulfill their goals through meaningful work that creates positive impact in the world. And as mentees become leaders, our dream is for them to become mentors to others. So our topic for this evening is, does mentoring really matter? Our panel discussion format tonight will begin with our grouping of mentees and mentors sharing their stories. Why did they get involved in mentoring? How did the mentoring process happen? And what results have they achieved so far? Each one or each panelist is given about 2 minutes to share their story. After the last panelist, we will open up the floor to questions from the audience and from the panelists themselves. Let's make this exchange informal and conversational so that we can all be comfortable sharing and learning from each other. In the end, each one of us, myself, the panelists, and the audience will have to reflectively answer the question, does mentoring really matter? Our panelists, in the order that you will hear them speak, are as follows. So Daniel Nguyen, Shawn Flynn, Christina Shu, Kent Levin, Jennifer Nguyen, Michaela Larson, Hong Wen Fong, Tracy Weisman, Renee Tonioni, Nimreet Griwal, myself, Mo Rubensal, and Peter Alexander. And without further delay, let me unshare my screen and I will turn over the spotlight to Daniel.
Hi, everyone. So I guess I'm in the hot seat. So I guess there's only going up from here, right? So my name is Daniel Nguyen. I'm based out of San Jose, California, and I'm currently a mentee in the Mentoring Club. Why I chose the Mentoring Club in particular was because I wanted to grow and become a better person, both in my career and my personal life. And I felt like I had nothing to lose by choosing the Mentoring Club. So a little bit about my story was I grew up being told that I should do this or do that without reason. I was a type who studied really hard all throughout high school, middle school, elementary school, got good grades, went to a decent college, had many internships, probably more than I deserved, to be honest. Got several good paying jobs after graduation, as well as work in the industry for 7 years as a software engineer. And I hit what you call that brick wall in life, which I call the quarter life crisis. And that's when I realized I wasn't happy with what I was doing in my career nor how I was growing in my life. So I spent years sitting in my cubicle thinking to myself, I should be happy. I did everything that I was supposed to do. And I was promised everything and I got it, except for the fulfillment and happiness parts. And I've always thought that I was meant for something more and that I was going to be something special. I was taught at a young age that I needed to be self-dependent, self-reliant, and I was shy and I didn't know how to ask for help. And I ended up doing everything on my own. So mentoring and the Mentoring Club was a sign, a call to my help or a call to help. I wanted to do more with my life and I wanted mentors to help me. And that's why I decided to join the Mentoring Club and become a mentee, because I wanted that help externally. I wanted another set of eyes and expert ears and to find out my path and what was right for me. And I wanted a different career, a different mentality and skills to be able to achieve everything I've always wanted to do. And some of the goals I wanted to achieve wasn't really specific. I didn't really have specific goals in terms of I wanted to get from A to B. Instead, more understanding of where I am with myself and what are my options with, the gifts and the skills that I've acquired. I wanted guidance on what I wanted to do with my career that better suited my personality. I wanted to develop my mind and my actions to be able to create better relationships with myself as well as others. Some of my experiences with my current mentors. So Brian Balch and another mentor that's here in this talk is Shawn Flynn. I was placed by the recommendations from Liesel with these two mentors, and I had a very positive experience with both mentors for different reasons in my development. For example, Brian, he has taught me how to be calm, how to look at situations with the eyes of positivity and uplift. I was lacking in self-esteem and relationship building at the time. My biggest advice that he gave me was to go into every relationship with a mentality of how to help a person or how to help this person I'm engaging with, and also try to be interested rather than interesting when engaging in that conversation. And then that in itself was a major shift in how I developed future relationships. With Shawn, being in his network was absolutely a wonderful experience. I attended some of his workshop held at his office. Being around extremely smart, successful people motivated me to do more in my life and gave me the opportunity to think about switching from engineering to product management. I took both of these advices and it helped develop me in a way where I had the options to grow into a path that was more interesting to me, as well as contributing to the mentoring club, such as the mentoring circle and the clubhouse talk. But overall, what I've learned from mentorship is that it's an ever-long journey with no end. My mentors was a good step in the right direction for me to grow as a person. And in my career, they helped me appreciate them investing their time and energy with my personal growth and developing a relationship with them. And I don't necessarily have a clear path, but that's just also life. Nothing worth having comes fast or easy. And it's a process, and the mentoring club has become part of my process and in guiding me towards something special that I'm hoping to find. And that is my journey with the mentoring club.
Shawn?
All right. So my name is Shawn Flynn. I'm a mentor at the Mentoring Club. I've been here since the early days. I was introduced to Liesel, and she asked if I was interested in mentoring. And of course, once I heard the cause and how the goal is to be international, I jumped on it. I've lived overseas total for almost 8 years: Costa Rica, China, Europe, China. Right now, I'm currently a mid-market investment banker focused on mergers, acquisitions, growth capital, and secondaries. But to get where I am now, my transition was crazy, going from living in China, starting companies, to coming back to Silicon Valley, working with an angel group, then a global incubator, and now an investment bank. I've had the honor of mentoring two people, Daniel and Christina. Christina, you'll hear after me. And both are so different, but both was really interested in how much they grew in such a short amount of time. Daniel and myself, we went on many hikes, Coyote Trail, some others, lots of fun. And we have so much in common with his traveling, him being a soccer coach in Brazil, even though I'd never been to Brazil. Just, we were able to connect. We had a lot of same things that happened to us, college and after college. And yeah, it was a great time. Got to really see him try to do a lot of new things. And Christina, I remember when I first met her, she was very shy and timid. Her goal was to be able to help Taiwan companies enter the US market and vice versa. And we went about strategizing how she could do that, how she could start her own marketing company, build her own brand. And I remember every week we would have tasks for her to complete. And one of the tasks was for her to do public speaking, to be seen as the industry expert, to be seen as a go-to person. And Christina's pretty shy, but she took on the challenge. At the event she gave a talk at, someone in the audience went to high school with her and actually said, "Why should you be on stage?" She told me that she actually cried after that. And someone in the audience she was talking to was just, "Don't listen to that person." And that person in the audience she ended up working with, she ended up moderating and organizing the largest artificial intelligence conference in Taiwan, positioned herself as this industry expert for startups. She's now getting her MBA at Haas, UC Berkeley, and she was able to accomplish so much in a short amount of time. We went through the troubles with each milestone, and the milestones just kept pushing her in better directions, better situations. And I actually got to see her because she is in UC Berkeley. I'm based in San Francisco. We did get to meet up and hang out. And it's just amazing how quickly some people are able to grow. I mean, Daniel, Christina, they've accomplished so much, and I've learned a ton from them. And I've just been very blessed to be part of the mentoring club. And that's kind of why I'm here, to learn myself, because the best mentors for a mentor is a mentee. So I've been very honored.
Speaking of Christina, so she's next in the spotlight. And so she can't make it today. So we will have her recording.
So we first started the mentorship on a weekly call every Friday, 7 a.m. for me, 4 p.m. for Shawn, I believe. So it was a very consistent call where, we would chat for about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the amount of things we had to catch up on. I really appreciated that process where it was, we had a very intense start just to make sure to get everything on track, clarify the paths and the steps I had to take in order to work on my goals. Along the way, of course, I had some challenges and some questions, and that's where we'd go through the questions like during our calls. And also, I think what was really important was during every call, Shawn would say, okay, so what went well last week? And that was really important for me because it was an opportunity to recognize progress and have little, small rewards for myself to say, oh, that was good. And then what do we work on next week? And setting clear KPIs for what we have to achieve. Actively working on each initiatives we've identified. For example, getting involved in projects that are relevant to the technology sector. So that's where I helped start a artificial intelligence and law research nonprofit in Taipei, Taiwan.
Wow.
Networking and meeting as many people as possible. Because of the mentorship, it really inspired me to take on the opportunity. And so as a part of my work with the Artificial Intelligence and Law Research Foundation, I actually said, I'm going to MC the conference that we host.
Nice.
So I ended up hosting the conference where we had 300 to 400 attendees and 32 speakers. But that was an incredible experience, learning so much from it. And I think I will continue to do that.
All right. Well, thank you. And then now we are going to spotlight Kent.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kent Levin. I moved to California by accident. A friend of mine was out here and he needed help with a project, and I was in between things. And so I came out to help him. And what I found in the Bay Area is there's just so much opportunity and so much going on. And it was really overwhelming, and I didn't really know where to start. I had a background in post-sales support and in a variety of different industries, and actually ended up working as an engineer on a super yacht and got to cross the Pacific. And when I got done with that, that's when I ended up in California. So I was in this area with tons of opportunity and tons of really interesting projects that were being worked on, but breaking into high tech was difficult. I interviewed for a bunch of different jobs and just didn't seem to get there. So I was doing some networking and came across the mentoring club. And after talking to Liesel, joining was really a no-brainer. I was interested in project management, which a friend of mine had suggested based on my past experience that would be a good intro into tech. After looking at Hong's experience, he was a clear choice as a mentor. Through the process, I found Hong to be open, engaging, and most importantly, full of practical advice. Since I started working with Hong, I obtained an internship at a startup. 2 months later, was offered a full-time position. 6 months after that, was promoted to be the manufacturing manager. And it's just been all go since then. Having Hong's guidance and being able to call on him, even in between meetings, was paramount. I genuinely don't believe I'd be where I am without his help and guidance. Not just in project management, as in career development, networking techniques, negotiating, and identifying how to add value in a very short amount of time. Conflict resolution, and there are so many other small avenues that Hong's been able to help me with that I don't have time to list them all. Unfortunately, my life has gotten incredibly hectic. Well, actually, very fortunately, I'm getting married in 21 days. I
Yes.
had to pull back on mentoring just because virtually every waking minute is either working or we're doing wedding planning. But I'm looking forward to picking things back up after the new year and after the wedding. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kent. And so I'm going to go now to Jennifer Nguyen.
My name is Jennifer, and I've been a mentee in the mentoring club since May of this year. I'm currently a software engineer working in the industry for about 2.5 years. Right before I joined the club, I was transitioning to a more pre-sales role in software engineering with responsibilities that were completely outside of my comfort zone. I'm a really big introvert, and my biggest challenge was talking with clients, which made me quite uneasy. And even now, I have often wondered whether I had made the wrong decision to move to this new position, but it's getting a little better. As a result, though, I sought out for mentorship in helping me with my career journey. And it's funny how I chose who I wanted to mentor with. It came down to a YouTube video. Liesel forwarded me a link to a video of Hong talking about communication and building trust in order to motivate others to take action. And these are skills that are relevant to my pre-sales job and my long-term goal of becoming a leader. So I reached out to Hong, and within the next day, we scheduled our first meeting. My mentorship experience with Hong has been fantastic. I enjoy that at the end of each session, I have a few action items that I can put into practice. He is extremely knowledgeable and really cares about my objectives. He has helped me in so many areas outside of just communication, but just learning about myself and what I want to look for in my career journey. Overall, I am really glad I joined the mentoring club. It has helped me so much with my professional growth. And that is all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. And so I'll go to Breen again to spotlight Michaela Larson. So she can't make it tonight.
I decided to become a mentee in the mentoring club because I was feeling a little bit lost with what career path and direction I wanted to take at the time. I was not sure how to move forward. A few of my goals when I decided to become a mentee in the mentoring club included finding my true passions and a fulfilling career path, improving networking skills, working on self-confidence, and developing leadership skills. Currently, I am working with Hong, Renee, and Olga. I had met Hong on the mentoring club's monthly Mentors and Leaders hike, and I chose to work with Hong because I was inspired by his various areas of expertise and knowledge. I chose to work with Renee as I was drawn to her guiding principles, some of which include to seek harmony, lead with kindness and compassion, be self-aware, and to nurture and cherish authentic relationships. I knew from our first mentor-mentee meeting that we would be a good match. I chose to work with Olga as I was impressed by her experience and background working in numerous countries. I also really liked her approach to mentoring in that she always asks very thought-provoking questions that help me reflect deeply about a subject. Hong has helped me understand my core values and strengths and how I can use that knowledge to find a career that I would be happy in. He has also given me a lot of helpful advice along the way related to developing my leadership skills and improving time management. Working with Renee has helped me in developing as a leader, building and maintaining genuine connections, and in knowing how to move forward in my career path. She has helped me become more confident in myself and learn how to be more assertive. Olga has helped me in a variety of areas, especially when it comes to skill set analysis and learning how to bridge the gap between where I am at and where I hope to be. I especially liked how she incorporated the wheel of life in the beginning of our sessions to help me reflect on which areas feel balanced and which areas might need more work. Upon reflection on just the past 6 months, I feel like I've grown so much as a person. I know myself better, I've grown and developed as a leader, and improved on my networking skills. Through working with my mentors on a regular basis, I have gained several invaluable skills and tools that I will continue to use throughout life. Recently, I was promoted within my company, and I know that the continued guidance and advice from my mentors was instrumental in helping me get to this point. I look forward to continuing to learn and grow throughout this mentoring journey.
I will go ahead to you, Hong. And just FYI for everybody, Olga is our mentor from the Czech Republic.
You have heard from 3 of my mentees that I was going to talk about today. So you heard from them. They are completely inspiring to me, especially in terms of what they are willing to do and the rapid advances that they all accomplish within a year, within less than a year for that matter. So let me summarize a little bit. Ken, I started with Ken in February, and very quickly, as you heard from Ken, he got a couple of months later, got another promotion and a raise. That's tremendous. And he dealt with a lot of challenges at work that he overcame successfully, and at the same time managed to propose and get married at the end of the year. So quite a lot accomplished. My hats off to Ken. Ken is somebody who's always eager to add more value, as you can see. At this stage, I wonder how he's going to top that in 2022. Okay. My second mentee that you heard from is Jen. Jen is incredible in terms of overcoming her resistance, her natural resistance, and always be willing to step up and to speak up, actually. Not her natural thing, but she did that over and over again. And that has led to tremendous outcome for her. And I think she's still on track of doing more of that, which is tremendous. Now that she's been in this customer facing and more leadership role, she's focusing more on communication skills as from the start as well, and also building and managing relationships, helpful for her in her career and in life in general. Michaela, at first she wanted to understand, what her career options are. And then I pointed her to some free online surveys, simple surveys to understand her work skills, her interests and her values, what's important for her. And then I recommended that she explore those options within the current company where she was working at. Her manager was so impressed with her forward-looking attitude that pushed to promote her definitely a year or two ahead of any kind of expectation. So tremendous. At this time, I think she's still quite busy with her old job, and I reminded her that really she got to let go and prepare for the next job. With that, I think, I'm very inspired by my mentees. I would say this. So what are my takeaways from working with them? I learned quite a bit. I think number one, and I would generalize this, number one is to speak up and communicate your career aspirations and start from there and get help from there or move on. I think there's no getting around that one. Keep pushing forward. Don't rest on your laurels. You move up and then keep moving up again. Number two takeaway as well, as I hear from my mentees, is this. As you push so hard, clearly you're going to be overwhelmed and overworked. There's no doubt about that one. So my second takeaway with my mentees is this, is to manage your commitments and control your time. My takeaway number three that I would generalize once again, in any kind of job, the number one thing that we focus on are technical things. Can we do the job? Can we do it well? And everybody expects that of you. But really, much more important, actually, that you may not think about are skills that are really important for your career, communication skills, again, building relationship and managing relationship, and also prioritization about your attention and focus and time. So those are key takeaways that I learned from my mentees, and I would generalize and transmit that to future mentees. Thank you.
Thank you, Hong. And I'm giving the floor now to Tracy Weissman.
Hello, hello. I'm Tracy Weissman, and I am a solution architect in the enterprise cloud space in Silicon Valley, San Jose, California. My historical elevator pitch has been, I'm a one-person technical SWAT team, what do you need? Which always generates conversation. I've gone the gamut through any type of position in technology, CTO, VP. One notable is as a vice president of technology for Visa International the global parent company of all Visa credit card regions. I delivered the Visa Europe credit card switch at the beginning of the European Union and the euro currency with 5 nines availability, millisecond response time, and had to interoperate seamlessly with legacy IBM proprietary mainframe switches and networks around the world. So that was quite exciting. I've also done other things, including constructing and delivering technical business training globally. I've volunteered as a mentor to university students seeking engineering degrees. I volunteered at MIT Stanford Venture Lab, or VLab, to deliver Stanford Business School panel discussions on current technical business topics. I delivered the artificial intelligence and data exhaust talks. And I signed up for mentoring in February 2020 to work on What Next with Renee, who you'll hear from soon. I chose Renee for her HR, business, technical savvy, and how to deal with corporate politics. I'm currently working on a self-branding exercise, and I'm also looking at What Next. I have an AI expert system shell invention from grad school. I'm thinking of productizing and other creative ventures in mind, but I highly value the mentoring club as a mentee, and I highly recommend it. And thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you, Tracy. So now it's Renee's turn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Renee, and as you just heard from Tracy, I work with Tracy, Michaela, and Sheila. And what really drew me to the mentoring club is, other than Liesel's great pitch when I met her at the conference and just sucked me in, pulled me in, for me, mentoring is really important because I have had many others throughout my career, throughout my life, who have given me the time and paid interest in developing me both personally and professionally. Without their help, I wouldn't be where I am today, not just in my career, but also some of the life decisions that I've made. So I truly believe that it is important for us to help other people out. I don't believe in self-made anything. I believe that we all get help from someone, and we've got to share that credit. And I also believe it's our obligation that when somebody helps us along the way, that we reach the hand down and pull the next person up. And what I expect for the people I work with is that they would do the same at some point in their career. The mentees, I chose them because they all had something in common that really appealed to me. So as you heard, I work with Tracy, Michaela, and Sheila. When I read their bios and got to meet them, what I realized is that they all really wanted to be their personal best, and that really appealed to me. And they were willing to put the work and the effort into doing just that, to drive their own personal and professional development. I really liked most is that they all had this kind of growth mindset. And what I find is working with them, they inspire me. They're challenging me to give them more, to really kind of challenge them and help kind of make them think differently. And so what they do for me is make me want to be my personal best. My strategy as a mentor is that with each person that we start at the foundation and talk about what they value. And oftentimes people don't really think about what they value. They just take it for granted. And we go through an exercise where they start to identify their values, and then we start to articulate what their purpose is. Like, what do you believe your calling is in life? What do you believe is your greater purpose? And make sure that there's an alignment. Ensure that your goals align to your values and your purpose, and then work with them to achieve their goals. And really, it's about meeting them where they are. The people I mentor come from different parts of the country. There are different stages in their career. I have some that are early career, so they're just learning all of this stuff. And then I work with Tracy, who is somebody who's very seasoned professional. And I learn a lot from Tracy, and I'm sometimes wondering why she's not my mentor. But what's really rewarding is that you have these different experiences, and there's always something to learn. I really do enjoy the time that I spend with each of them.
Thank you, Renee. And our next mentee is Nimreet.
I wanted to switch my job from auditing and go into a completely different field, which was behavioral therapist. So with Liesel, we set up goals on a weekly basis, how many jobs I'm going to apply, what networking events I'm going to be doing, how to make that transition easier. That within few months, I was able to get a certificate in the field I was trying to get into. And then slowly I was able to find a job that I really like. And I've been at that job now for more than a year and a half. I was able to make that transition from like a business field to going into a more healthcare type of environment. Once I was settled in my job, I wanted to do something on my side, which was starting my own company. And that's where I met my second mentor, Mo, who helped me understand what my personal values are and also what my short-term and long-term goals are. So we did a lot of career goal planning and what I really wanted to do in the future. And with that help, I was able to kind of build a foundation for my company and transfer my personal goals to more in the business. With my third mentor, Professor P, I learned how to balance different things in my life and to also know how to manage my stress a lot better because I was trying to do a lot of different things and it was just getting really overwhelmed. And with him, every day before a session, I would fill out a form where I would write what I'm kind of struggling with this week and were also my accomplishments from our last session and if there's anything that is not working for me. And based on my answer, we will do our session the next day. And through his help and guidance, I've been able to really learn how to balance different aspects of my life and to also make it a habit to kind of take care of myself and my health and really put that on my schedule.
Today, I will share my mentoring experience with Nimreet. Her story is about a leader very much willing to accept the reality of her situation, that she didn't like her job, and also a leader who had the courage to make the switch from the work that society expected her to do after graduation to work that she finds meaningful. Nimreet decided to leave her job at Ernst & Young and devoted time to self-reflection. Her reflection led to her desire to help people with disabilities and her interest in fashion design. What a combination. The drive is influenced by her love for her cousin who has a disability from childhood. And she believes that she can make a difference by creating a fashion line, clothing and footwear for people with disabilities. Her dilemma was, should she go into finance and accounting work for income and work on her business on the side? Or should she get into the space of helping people with disabilities for income, experience, inspiration, and connection? So the answer to her was obvious. She decided to get certified as a behavioral therapist. She took every opportunity to learn and expand her network. Eventually, she was offered a job at Cadian, working as a consultant for kids with disabilities. I remember how happy she was the first week she was at work. And then a few weeks later, when she was finally assigned to the kids that she would be responsible to help and serve. So one goal achieved, work she loves, and income. So her next goal was to establish the business. I recommended that she connect with Mo as her mentor for marketing and branding. After some months, she was able to launch her business. So one more goal achieved. She was experiencing some stress over her regular work as a therapist, which she loves, alongside with the demands of bringing a new business to life, which she also loves. The problem was there's just not enough hours in a day. I suggested exploring a mentoring relationship with Pete for stress management. So Nimreet's story is such a great example of a community of mentors working to support an aspiring leader. This is part of my vision for the Mentoring Club, and I'm extremely joyful to see it in action in Nimreet, Daniel, Michaela, and many, many others. So I will turn the spotlight now to Mo.
Thank you, Liesel. It's been great working with Nimreet, with all the mentees. The mentees that we deal with, they have the smarts, they have the passion, they have the know-how. What they don't necessarily have is the experience. And that's where we can help smooth their way into it rather than getting their experience through the School of Hard Knocks. And Nimreet had a remarkable passion for something that was very personal, as Liesel was saying, the disabilities that she experienced through her cousin, and she saw that she had some talents that could be brought to bear on that. And so the first thing we did was we talked about values and why is it that people with disabilities, why she felt such a connection there. And we pretty quickly discovered she has a strong value around independence. And once she knew her value, then that tells her where she can go, how she can move through the day to day. And then we did some tactical work, such as we set up a roadmap, set up some goals. I gave her some tools that she wouldn't necessarily have without life's experiences in order to get where she needed to go. So she had those. And then one other thing that I remember, her dad wanted to help her, and there were other people in her family who wanted to help her, and she felt guilty about taking their help. And that was one area where, with experience, one learns that people who want to help you want to help you. So she was able to guiltlessly accept their help. That was another area where we were able to work together and achieve some growth. So it's been great working with Nimreet and watching her blossom. She's fantastic.
Thank you, Mo. And I will put Pete, but not the least, on spotlight now.
Thank you, Liesel. And I have to reinforce what both you and Mo said about Nimreet. She was an absolute pleasure. I got involved with the mentoring club a couple of years ago when Liesel reached out to me. We talked and I really felt the passion, and she connected with me very well, and I definitely wanted to be a part of what she's building. When she referred Nimreet to me, that was a perfect case because she looked like hell. She did. And she was just so stressed out. So what we did, she mentioned it in her video, we did a weekly call, and what I'd ask her to do is I'd give her homework each week. The day before we would talk, I'd ask her to send me an update on what was working and what did she need additional help with. That allowed me to customize our calls to be much more efficient for her. It really worked well. When someone applies what they're learning to their actual life experiences, it really can make a difference. It's interesting working with her. What I learn and what's reinforced to me is that if you really are present with the mentee, you can really make a positive difference. And that has been something that I really cherish about being a mentor. The biggest highlight I have with working with Nimreet, and I told her this, I wish I would have taken a screenshot of her the first day I met her on Zoom, because she basically reversed aged as we were working. She basically, like I said, she looked like hell that first day. And she must have taken at least 10 years off of herself in about 3 months. And so it was like the fountain of youth coming back to her as she was really taking care of herself. And that to me was by far and away the biggest highlight that I got as a mentor.
All right. Well, thank you, Pete. So I would encourage everybody to go into gallery view right now, because we will open the floor to questions. Anybody in the audience joining us, whether you're a community member or you're joining us for the first time, based on the experiences that you've heard, please feel free to ask any questions to any one of the panelists, as well as the panelists. If there was any story at all that resonated with you or you're intrigued by, please go ahead and address it to the specific panelists that you'd like to get engaged with. Okay, so let me go ahead and address this to Jennifer. So as a mentee, was there any doubt in your mind that this mentoring venture may not work?
So as I have been mentored before, and it hasn't worked out, but it also but then I learned a lot from it too. But when I met with Hong, I did not have any doubts. Although I feel like maybe he had doubt that I might not be a good mentee, because life has gone really hectic for me, and I had to reschedule. That might have demotivated him, but he actually was very flexible, and he kept at it, where he's like, I'm gonna, meet you either through the phone or video, however you like. And so from then, I just just his level of commitment, I felt, yeah, I didn't have any doubt from then on out. And this, just his level of commitment made me want to commit even more. And so that's how it is right now with our relationship. So I really appreciate that about Hong.
Well, actually, when you shared that story, it reminded me of my story with my mentor for the mentoring club, which is Margot Murray. Renee knows her, and she runs the Emotional Intelligence Conference in Texas, and that's how Renee and I met. So the first time I approached her, I had to read her book, and then, for those of you who are mentors and mentees, you all went through the onboarding process. I told you about, her definition of mentoring really resonated with me. I can operationalize this. And so I went and met with her, and I talked to her about my vision, and she was very supportive, although somehow I felt in the background that was, she didn't know me. I was a friend of her friend. And so I felt that she was sort of like skeptical a little bit if I can do this. And then eventually during that conference in 2018, when she recognized me in the conference among her peers, PhD professors, the developers of the instrument that we're using, Scale, she said, "Oh, she is one of my most productive proteges." So they use the term protege instead of mentees. And I said, "Oh, okay, she's my mentor now." So I can relate with you when you say, "Oh, maybe he's not too sure about me as a mentee," because I went through that experience myself. So sometimes we do have to prove ourselves, right?
Right.
Okay, so question to a mentor. How about Mo? Okay, what was the most challenging part of being a mentor? And before you answer that, please, anybody, if you just unmute yourself, you can interrupt me in these questions. I'd be happy to have a more engaging conversation with the audience.
I think that the most challenging part of being a mentor is sometimes is you have to be true to your advice. So, it's very easy to sit here and give somebody else advice, but if it's not advice that I would be willing to follow myself, then it's going to fall flat. As an example, Nimreet had questions about goal setting. And, I think we all struggle with goal setting from time to time. And at the time I was having some goals that I wasn't meeting. And so giving her mechanisms for solving the goals when she is so persistent and so committed to what she's saying, kind of made me go, oh yeah, I need to be true to myself and to be as sharp on my goals as she is for her. So I think the challenge is and the opportunity is that mentoring is an opportunity to mentor yourself at the same time.
So it seems like the commitment, right? So you're asking for commitment from the mentee, and you also have to have that commitment.
That's right.
Okay, got it. So anybody would like to ask a question?
I'll throw out a question to see who said mentors, or I guess I'll start with the mentors. I've done some mentoring in this organization. I currently don't have any mentors, but any mentees. But one of the issues is getting people or getting the mentee to understand himself or herself, understand their strengths. We heard, I forget her name, one of your presenters, Liesel, called it understand their superpowers, was a term used. And just wondering for the other mentors in this crowd here, have you found a way or questions or clues or some way to get the mentee to self-analyze and figure out their superpowers, their strengths?
I'd be happy to jump in and answer that question. So I think I shared, at least early on with my introduction, that I'm in the talent development space. So this is what I do for my day job as well. And so not so much with Tracy, because Tracy, I started, she knew exactly what she needed, what she wanted. She knew herself very well. But I shared that my other mentees are pretty early in their career. So the self-exploration was really important. So there's a lot of assessments out there that I'd be happy to share with you all that are free. And I was just sharing them with my mentees. One of them is called 16 Personalities, which is kind of like the Myers-Briggs version. It's kind of a free Myers-Briggs. There's other assessments for workplace, kind of career development. But I think it's really important. And there was another one out there that kind of likens to like the Strength Finder and the DISC. And those are all well-known, validated assessments, but they're expensive. And not everybody wants to be able to or has the ability to really invest in that. But I think that just starting your mentees there with these self-assessments will help them understand themselves better. It'll either validate what they already knew, or it'll start to really identify where the gaps are that maybe they want to fill. And then they can start to kind of dig into like, who am I? What's most important to me? What are my values? And how am I going to be able to use those values and the talents and the gifts that I have in order to do something that I find meaningful?
Thanks for that, Renee. And so I'm seeing that 2 hands are raised, Mwita and Eva. So let's start with Mwita. So I can just give a quick introduction about Mwita. And he is our mentee who recently signed up with us from Kenya. And I also saw Nathan. Nathan is our mentor from Uganda, and Katsuhiro is our mentor from Japan. So Mwita, go ahead with your question.
Hello, Liesel. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is Mwita from Kenya. Okay, don't have a question, just only to say a comment to say I'm so happy to join you guys and to say that I'm so happy when I connected with the Liesel in the clubhouse through the Diana. I'm so happy to connect with you guys, and I hope that I will prosper with the moment that I will find. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Liesel, and everyone in this room.
Thank you, Mwita, for that comment. And just to let you know, Nathan Ochom is also in this call, and he is the mentor that I mentioned from Uganda. So he said he very much would like to help you out. I had a conversation earlier on Clubhouse. He has set up his business in agriculture as well. So Mwita is starting his business in poultry farming. So it's a good match between him and Nathan. So Eva, go ahead.
Hi,
Nice to
I'm
see
really,
you here.
likewise, I'm so happy to see you. So I was just thinking, I mentor a lot, and I really appreciate the answer that Renee was providing about sort of all the different tools that are available out there to identify strengths within mentees. What I usually do is I will ask for small successes that may not even be related to the challenges that the mentee is facing right now. So if their issue is perhaps getting promoted or communication with a manager or something like that, I will talk about successes maybe during school or in previous jobs or relationships that they've had with other manager-like people. And then we'll discuss those more in detail, and it kind of brings back memories for them of how they dealt with a specific situation. And that way they feel strengthened by that. So that's just a different approach from the tests that are available online.
Thank you. So I think that is also, very practical and useful about just going back to what you have achieved in the past, right? So and it also adds to one's self-esteem and self-confidence.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Any other questions from the audience? Shawn, do you have any questions?
Yeah, for the mentees or mentors, what has been a life-changing experience that you've had? Tell the story from the mentor and mentee.
Okay, would you like to specify specific mentor or mentee?
There's just too many good ones on the Zoom. So if I have to call on anyone, it's got to be Daniel. So we'll go Daniel and second Professor Pete.
Okay.
Can you be a little more specific on life-changing experience?
Daniel, I expect more from my mentor. Come on.
Well, I'm your mentee, so I don't know who you're talking to.
You teach me every time we talk.
Let's see. I am one of the most life-changing things that happened recently. I would say that is, probably the same for everyone, was COVID. I felt like that really definitely changed a lot of people's hearts and minds on how they interact with each other, how they look for jobs, and how they cope with a pandemic. And I feel like, with this kind of thing that happened to the world, it really forced me to change how I view and look internally for myself and other relationships, how I look for jobs, and how I can find happiness. Because I feel like I've always had that perfectionism mentality where I always want what I want when I want. And when COVID happened, it became, that just became, thrown out the door. So I learned to be okay with what I have and do things that are within the means and within, safety measures. So I think that was something that I learned, was acceptance because of COVID, and doing the best I can with what, I'm given with. So that's my 2 cents for that question, Shawn.
Thank you, Daniel. And Pete?
Well, to kind of expand upon what I saw with the Fountain of Youth with Nimreet, it really, it was a perfect example of not taking your health for granted. The reality is, without our health, nothing else matters. Some of you have heard me talk about that, because if you don't have your health, you're not going to be any good to your job, your business, the people that are important to you in your life. You're just going to be lying in bed pretty much doing nothing but that. So take care of your health. And she was able to really apply a lot of different techniques, and it showed. It showed in her spirit, and it showed physically in her body.
Thank you. So that is life-changing for somebody who went through that process of just understanding stress. So thank you for that. So any last comments? I know we're at the end of the hour, so I will just go ahead and allow one more, and then I will wrap up with just some quick announcements.
Oh, great. Thank you. I wanted to share 2 things. First of all, I do want to say this, right? With the 3 mentees that I mentioned, a very important thing is that they themselves have been mentoring and training younger staff, younger developers in their own company, and interns in their own company. So they have already stepped up themselves to be in a leadership role as it is, right? So that's part of the mentoring club spirit of give back and growing in leadership. So I think that's very heartwarming for me. The other thing that I wanted to share here, which is really important, is this. I learned recently, within a month, I would say, online by poking around, that number one, psychological trauma is internal. It's not necessarily correlated with anything external necessarily. But the thing is, psychological trauma, if ignored and not attended to, will become PTSD, which is extremely difficult to resolve, especially without professional help. So with that, I'm thinking that with 2 years of COVID, certainly I just put 2 and 2 together. Everybody here and everybody in the world is a PTSD case, and with that, where are we heading as a society, globally, if everybody is sick? So I think for me, in any case, the takeaway for me with all that is I pay tremendous attention now in terms of my own state of mental health, as well as my mentee state of health. So that's what I like to share. And I think Professor Pete will know quite a bit more about that. I return the mic to you. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. Yeah, it's really something that we have to recognize and admit to ourselves and be more conscious about how we do self-care during these times. So again, thank you. Thank you very much to all of you who put your hour or a little over an hour into this session, especially our panelists. Thank you for organizing your thoughts and just quickly summarizing them and adding that to the value of knowledge set that our audience and even myself and among all of us are things that we can reflect on to answer the question, does mentoring really matter? And if your answer to that is yes, please reach out to those people that you think are ready to give back through mentoring. We could use the help of more mentors. Or if they don't want to join the mentoring club, just mentor on their own. That'd be great. And as well as mentees who are trying to figure things out themselves. And if you know of anybody who's struggling, please go ahead and refer them to us as well, or connect them with a mentor even outside of the mentoring club. And with that, I would like to encourage you. You may have received a survey through Eventbrite, and please give us your feedback. We treat feedback as a gift, and that's how we can improve our events and our services to our community and guests. And just some quick announcements for the rest of the year. Our events are on Clubhouse. So we still have the 5 p.m. Pacific time, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. For December, we're devoting that to an Ask Me Anything format so that I am there and anybody who comes in and join me can ask me questions about mentoring and the mentoring club. And then if you would like to join any of our yoga sessions, it's on Sundays, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Let me know. Email me, Liesel at thementoringclub.org, and we will give you the link to that, again, health investment that we're trying to endorse within our community. And we will also have a program survey for 2022, and this is for us to help us validate what we have done well, what we need to improve on in 2021, and also potential programs for next year. And then the fourth one is that we have our holiday and year-end giving fundraiser that's going on through the end of the year. You can find this on Facebook or on our website. You can donate either way. And if you're still looking for a cause to support so that you can put in your tax deductible donations before the end of the year, please consider the Mentoring Club. And in 2022, watch out for additional programs that we're organizing with mentors. Number one is offering program management services, mentoring program management services to companies. And the next one is a group mentoring sessions, in addition to all the current events that we're already doing. So, and with that, I thank you all very, very much and happy holidays. Enjoy the journey. All right. Well, thank you. Have a good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. So, and happy holidays. Enjoy the journey.